Hello everybody, this is Tranquil Warfare, and this is my 90-gallon saltwater reef tank. You will notice a couple of differences from my first video. This is actually with a new aquascape. Not entirely happy with this. I'm probably going to be changing it, mainly because what my intent was I didn't want the overflow box over here to be on the left to be such a unnoticeable part of the tank. So I actually wanted to have a section of rock kind of going up the overflow box, and give me kind of twin peaks, as you see here with the right side. I did a similar thing, just kind of more away from the glass. I like it a lot more than the previous, just because there's a lot more swimming space for the fish to move around. Makes the tank look bigger, makes it look like the fish have much more places to go. But it the thing I don't like about it is the top left, where that green Montipora capricornis is, and the fact that that rock isn't necessarily the most stable of things either. So here's the left side of the tank. As you can see, I've already got some corals in here. A little bit of background: I actually took this tank over from a previous owner, and immediately I noticed some extreme differences from the previous owner's tank. When I re-aquascaped, actually, he had some fish in here that I did not want. The only one I did keep is Murray right there, the yellow tang. He had a clown grouper. He had a maroon clown. He had a domino damsel, and he also had a big carpet anemone, which I didn't really personally like, just because originally when I was going to buy the tank, he also had a engineer goby, and just before I acquired the tank, the engineer goby was eaten by the carpet anemone. So, I actually, the motivation of getting this tank was my 2-year-old son. I kid you not, I probably watched Finding Nemo minimum 100 times. And that's not even an exaggeration. More than likely, I'm close to 200. But, he loves Nemo, and so I figured this would be a good compromise. Instead of, watching Nemo every day, I can bring Nemo home in a fish tank. And as you see, I have two percula clownfish there, and also a blue tang, or hippo tang, or regal tang, depending upon what you want to call it. We haven't really named those two. I just call it the Dory and the Nemos. Murray, the yellow tang, is the only one with a name. My son likes to call him Bubbles, though, from the movie. So let's get in here close and take a look at what we have as far as corals. As I mentioned up top, I have the green Montipora capricornis. It's a little bit bright with the lights on right now. As far as the light fixture, I have the Aquatic Life 4-bulb T5 with the timer on it, and I really like the timer. It made things a lot easier for me as far as the actinics and the 10K bulbs, kind of getting the whole daylight cycle to go. But so that's the Montipora. As you can see, that's I have a couple red mushrooms there. Those things are really, really, really cool. I haven't figured out that one up to the top left there. I actually have him on a frag plug, because when I originally transferred the tank, the mushrooms were that mushroom and this guy down here that's attached to this rock. It's kind of hard to see with the light, but they were attached to the glass, so we had to separate them off the glass and then attach them. So they were both actually on the frag plug, and they both got off of there and kind of wandered around the tank. And this one to the bottom right of the screen here, he attached to that rock underneath that Kenyan tree. And the one that's on the plug here never really attached to anything. So when I re-aquascaped, I put him back on the plug and stuck him around right there in between these two rocks. I really like how that mushroom towards the middle of the screen kind of turns out. And that guy up at the top left, he's still trying to figure out what he's doing. His shape is always kind of funny, but definitely gets large, just never really round. I'm thinking the flow from these power heads might be a little bit too much. These are my green button polyps. These this colony of green button polyps, as well as this humongous colony right here of green button polyps, are, no lie, 200% minimum better than when I got the tank. They took a serious downturn when I brought the tank over. They turned brown. They lost their tentacles that extend to catch food. They really weren't green at all. I was really worried that they were going to die. And these I thought were green star polyps. And through doing some research, because they're in fact not always green, they're actually more of a pinkish color. I think that they are, I forget the full name for them, but it was like encrusting Gregorian, or something along those lines. I really like it because it gives that shimmering wave effect to the tank, although everything that I read says it grows like a weed. So I'm really going to be careful. There's some there. There's some more polyps down here. Some more encrusting Gregorian there next to this canyon tree. And there's some more polyps over here growing on this rock. And obviously some frags of canyon tree got stuck to this rock here somehow, and they're kind of growing off of it as well. So basically all the corals that I have, the mushrooms, the encrusting Gregoria, the canyon trees, the green star, or the green button polyps, I kind of assumed all of these from the previous owner, and everyone tells me that they kind of grow like crazy, like weeds, and you really got to be careful and frag them. So I'm really thinking about actually getting rid of this entire colony of green button polyps, taking it to the local fish store and selling it off. You can probably break that rock up. Up here is another example of bad husbandry from the previous owner. This is an orange Montipora capricornis, and it just looks horrible. The remaining orange on there is the only thing that's keeping me from ripping it off. This entire rock, actually, it's kind of hard to differentiate it, but that rock where the button polyps are is a separate rock, and that whole section to the right is one humongous rock, and it looks so much better. You can see the glare of white from the light. This whole thing was black when I first got this rock, and I've had this tank since second week of October. We're currently going into the second week of December, so for 2 months I've had this tank, and a combination of the hermit crabs and the snails getting on there have really cleaned this thing up. I got the cleanup crew not long after getting the tank, and that rock looks so much better. As far as flow goes, just kind of touch on that. I have 4 Corallia power heads. I have 2 Corallia 4s, and I don't know what number the other ones are. They're smaller. I'd say they have to be like Corallia 2s. I'm just guessing, but they're all connected to the Wavemaker 4 Corallia. So I've got them alternating. They have alternating current in here. I got pretty good flow going on in here, I believe, and overall very happy with currently where the tank is. Here's a look underneath to my sump. This is not this is a converted wet dry. So I have a filter sock there on the right. I have a skimmer in there. I want to get a new skimmer. I'm not really happy with the skim mate it's giving. This whole setup is pretty much from the previous owner as far as plumbing goes and filtration. That Two Little Fishies reactor down there I actually added, and it had some bio pellets going, and I've actually recently turned it off. I started with very small amount of bio pellets in there because this was pretty much an established tank. I brought a majority of the water over in the transition. We only actually put about, I'd say, 14 to 15 gallons of new water in here. It's a 90 gallon when we made the move. Since then, I've done 3 20-gallon water changes, and well, actually I lied. I've probably done 4 or 5 20-gallon water changes, and it's really helped the quality of the chemistry of water go up. I actually had a long tentacle anemone that I put in here when I got these 2 percula clowns, and it barely lasted a couple of weeks. I want to say it was more than likely because I thought it was because of the lights, the 4T4 setup from Aquatic Life. This is a 90-gallon, and I really didn't think he was getting the light that he needed. He was on the substrate connected to a rock. Ended up deflating. Didn't really have, literally looked like he had no tentacles. Barely stuck to the rock, and then the day I saw him unattached from the rock and kind of rolling around a little bit, I immediately took him out. But that's my wet dry down there. You can see the Corrali wave maker on the top right of the wet dry, and the skimmer and just return pump back up. So as far as fish go, like I said before, I have my blue tang. We just call her Dory. It makes it easy for every blue tang we get, call him Dory. Literally about 1.5 to 2 inches long. I got the blue tang and the 2 clowns pretty close together as far as time frame, and the clowns are probably about the same size, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. I got them both when they were probably a little more than 1 inch, so I've definitely seen some growth. There's an interesting story about that pajama cardinal there. When I got the pajama cardinals, I actually got 3 of them, and unfortunately, I don't know if there was their swimming patterns or whatever, but Murray did not like the pajama cardinals. He killed the first one probably after the 3rd day. There's a little spike back there. So he killed the first one. I found the first one the following day after on the 4th day on the bottom of the tank and eaten by some hermit crabs. So I was glad I had my cleanup crew there. And the second pajama cardinal, I'm guessing Murray killed. He disappeared for a while, and when I re-aquascaped, I actually found him pretty much eaten up again by the cleanup crew. So these are all my fish. Actually, they're all in frame here. Murray, the yellow tang, the pajama cardinal, we just call him PJ, the Nemos, and the Dory. So that's pretty much going to do it for this update. Current date is December 7th, 2012. And I'm hoping to do, obviously, more of these. I kind of want to chronicle my experience with this tank. I'm looking to add a couple SPSs. Obviously, with the 4T5 setup, I know that I can't put them towards the bottom. Have to keep them towards the top. I don't know why it's so blurry. Sorry about the blur there, guys. And I'm hoping to get a rose bubble tip anemone. Again, because I want to be able to place them on the rock. I'm probably going to put them over here on this side. My only concern are these 2 power heads over here. So hopefully, he won't get too close to those. I really don't care if he gets on these green button polyps and stings those guys. If he starts stinging the Kenyan tree, this is a really big Kenyan tree. And it looks awesome in real life. I know in the video it might not look too great, but I'll probably move him. But I think that's going to be the next addition. Is probably going to be the rose bubble whenever I can afford him. As of right now, we're pretty much balling on a budget, so to speak. But this video was taken with an iPhone 4S. Video quality is just kind of okay. And there it is, a little bit better. It's just kind of okay, but yeah, Tranquil Warfare here, 90-gallon, December 7th, 2012. More updates coming soon. Subscribe to the channel. I'll try to do many updates as possible. And big ups to New York Stilo. He got me doing this. So talk to you guys soon.